Hi guys, Ian here, welcome to my channel and to another video. And today I just want to have a little chat about magical ritual and the solar practitioner. And the reason that I want to speak to you about that is because it's something that I think that can be quite important in our practice. Now I'm not going to be talking about the details of any specific ritual because there's plenty of resources available on that. Plus, I believe that the most powerful rituals are the ones that we create ourselves, the ones that arise from within us. And whilst I think it's important to observe certain protocols and precedents, because they have been in existence for thousands of years, and millions of our human ancestors have enacted rituals which have included certain things. For example, the elements. They may have used certain symbols which will have been meditated upon and visualized for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. And as I've said before, my belief is that symbols in the physical world are living intelligences in the astral world. So it's important, I think, to bear in mind the symbols and practices of our species over antiquity, but it's also important that rituals are born of our living intention and our living desire, and that they're not just something that we pick up from a book and we recite parrot fashion, or as if it was some form of, some form of ingredient list for the baking of a cake, because it's not like that. So now, we don't all practice ritual, I'm aware of that. It isn't something that features in every spiritual person's life, but it has its place and purpose, and I think it has its power and its result. So for those of you who are not perhaps of an esoteric background, and not really from a mystic background, I would just ask you to think about the communion service or the Mass within Christianity. Now that is ritual magic. It's high magic, no doubt about it, because what do we have? We have bread and we have wine, and we are saying that is transubstantiated into the body and blood of Christ. Okay, so that is most certainly an act of high magic. So you'll see from that, I think, that ritual certainly has its place within the lives of spiritual practitioners. But it isn't essential. I'm not saying everyone has to do this. So what is the purpose of ritual? Well, it's to focus our mind. It's to focus our intention. It's to focus our imagination, our visual imagination. It's to focus our will. It is to focus everything within us as spiritual and manifest beings that actually is magic, because magic is simply the laws that govern the manifest and the spiritual world. And when we work magic, what we attempt to do is to work with those laws to achieve an outcome that we desire. Now, Dion Fortune, and I keep quoting Dion Fortune because I think she's an amazing woman, she says that there is no magician in the world, past, present or future, who can achieve something that goes against cosmic law. What we do when we work our magic is we work with those cosmic laws and intelligences. We may bend them slightly, but we will never break them. So that's something worth bearing in mind, I think. Now let's look at the purposes of ritual then. It can be to offer thanks for something. It can be to celebrate something. Like the Wiccans celebrate the wheel of the year, change in seasons. It can be to enhance a communication with something. Now, whether you believe the gods and goddesses are souped up humanoids, or whether you believe that they are intelligent cosmic forces, it doesn't really matter. But the purpose of a ritual can be to get a more direct contact with the gods and goddesses, these cosmic intelligences, and enable us to deal with them, if you want, to interact with them in a way that we might not be able to do in our day-to-day mundane existence. So there are many purposes for ritual. Also to achieve an outcome. We may want to achieve something, and we will use a ritual to help us to achieve that outcome. Bearing in mind what I said about cosmic laws. Bent, not broken. Okay, so then, what is a ritual? Well, fundamentally, a ritual is, it's a routine, it's a series of practices that we follow, which is geared to enable us to gather everything that is magical within us and focus it on our outcome. The outcomes which I might have mentioned, just mentioned a few moments ago. And now the way we do that, the way we gather our magical forces within us, is we use items that cause a change within us. Now you might say it's a change of consciousness. So for example, I have a temple in my home, which is just a room that I've converted to a temple. In the temple, there are fixtures and fittings that have meaning to me, which follow certain esoteric patterns. I have robes. I have magical tools. But the most important thing is when I put on my magical robe, it helps me to shift my consciousness. I am not then in my normal day-to-day mode of thinking. When I tie my belt around my waist, something else happens. It's like putting on my magical personality. It's leaving the world of the mundane, to use quite a hackneyed word now in magical circles, but leaving the world of the routine behind and stepping into another way of being. Okay, so the magical tools that you have on your altar, the wand, the focus of your will, it's all to build power on power on power, so that at the culmination of your ritual, when that power is released, it's out into the universe, off to do its thing. Okay, so that's very briefly, a bit of an idea of really what ritual achieves. Okay, there may be some other benefits, like the burning of herbs, for example. I'm going to go off on a tangent now, but I think it might be useful. Okay, so you know that there is the esoteric teaching, that everything in manifest existence, everything, our bodies, the chair I'm sat on, the curtains, the walls, minerals, vegetables, it's all densified spirit. Everything solid is densified energy, which is spirit. And I think it was Einstein who said that matter is simply energy whose vibrational frequency has been so lowered that it becomes perceptible to our physical senses. So for example, if you burn herbs or incense on your altar dish, you are changing the energy form of that herb. By burning it, you are releasing its energy back into the universe. So sometimes there are aspects of ritual which have an effect beyond simply building the power within us. They can have an effect on the environment, but mostly ritual is about the changes that it causes within us, and especially if we are working in a group. If you have 10 or 12 people doing a group ritual, the power that can be generated within that group is nothing short of phenomenal. Now, you can generate the same level of power within yourself, but it takes more effort, more expertise, more experience. Okay, so I just mentioned, didn't I, that I've converted a room to a temple, but what if you don't have a temple? What if you don't have a room that you can convert? Does that mean you can't do ritual? No, absolutely not. Because when we are performing ritual in the physical world, apart from what I just mentioned about the burning of herbs, for example, the use of certain oils or whatever, the place where what we are doing is having an effect is on the astral level. Now, the astral has been described as intelligent proto-matter. It's the place where the template of everything that is physical, in physical existence, is held. So if we want to affect something in the physical world, we first affect the change in the astral world, and it filters down through. This is why, even today, sort of in sports coaching, the coach will get the athlete to visualize their success, visualize them being stronger, faster, better. Why is that? Because they are affecting a change within the astral, which then they will see realized in their physical performance in the physical world. So the outcome, the effect of our ritual in the physical world is mostly in the astral world. So what does that mean then for us who maybe can't have a temple? It means that we can bypass the ritual in the physical world and perform it directly in the astral world. And let me tell you, as wonderful as a physical temple is, you can get to a point where you don't need it, where you build an astral temple, and oh my God, the things that you can experience in the astral temple are nothing short of phenomenal, because there you are the god of your own astral world. You can create whatever you want. Your temple can be magnificent. You can have the finest robes, you can have the finest incense, you can have the angels singing. And bear in mind that all of this is to generate energy and power, to raise power within yourself, to build and build and build the power of your visual imagination, which then is spearheaded by your will out into the universe to achieve that which you declare it to be. Okay, bear in mind cosmic law, bend, not break. So you can build an astral temple, and it can be a wonderful experience. Now, what I would recommend though is that you, if you can't have a temple, a physical temple, find a sacred space, a corner in your home somewhere, maybe a few little items around you, a place where you can go, where you become conditioned to, when I'm in this place, this is where I do business in the magical sense. Okay, this is where I leave my mundane self behind, and I put on I engage with my magical personality, and I do work. Yeah, just find yourself some sacred space, which is also wonderful for meditation and for contemplation and for reading and, you know, all of those things. But I really can't stress enough, right, that the astral temple that you can build can be absolutely as good as any physical temple, and in some ways so much better, because it can be exactly as you want it to be. And so I would encourage you, okay, if you are intrigued by ritual, if there's something within you that you feel a little bit excited when you think about it, even if you've never done ritual, okay, and if you can't get to a group, if you can't belong to a coven, if you're Wiccan or whatever, do a little bit of research, okay, find out about some of these common pillars of ritual practice, like the elements. Now, why, you know, opening the quarters, we're talking about the elements. Why are we talking about the elements in practice? Because the elements are the building blocks of physical existence. Yes, everything around us is made of the elements. And thinking Kabbalistically, as above, so below, the physical elements, earth, wind, fire, air, okay, they have their spiritual archetypes. spiritual air, spiritual fire, spiritual water. So these elements are the fundamental building blocks of all things in their physical form and in their spiritual form in the spiritual world. So I don't know whether that's whether this is just going to confuse people or not, but I just feel I wanted to express it. I wanted to get this off my chest and out there. Sorry, itchy nose. So yeah, if ritual is something that interests you, do some research and start simple, because bear in mind, Kabbalistic cross, that's a ritual. Sun salutations, that's a ritual. Start small, build up. Look at some of the classic ingredients to what a ritual might contain, but don't be afraid to do your own thing after you have done some research. Okay? Now, I feel I have to say, don't do anything wild. Don't go out of your depth and start summoning, beings, elemental beings and stuff like that. Don't do that. Please do your research. But if ritual interests you, it's a wonderful thing to experience. Okay guys, thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.